because of the economy, a mental health conversation. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Empowering Minds Namibia Podcast. Today, I'm your host, Kali Imwaka, and we are diving into a powerful conversation with none other than the youth. Deep down into how our current economic landscape is impacting the minds, hearts, and future of our youth. I'm incredibly honored to be joined by two amazing guests. Edelraud Murapo, a psychological counselor with experience supporting young people through emotional and mental wellness challenges, and Takudzwa Chikwereti, a medical social worker who works on the ground in healthcare and social services, addressing systematic barriers every day. Welcome, Taku and Edel.
Thank you, Kali.
Thank you, Kali.
So to kickstart, we'd like to start with Edel. How would you describe the current economic climate through the lens of young peoples that you counsel?
When it comes to our current financial climate in the country, it's a bit of a struggle. I think I would, since COVID-19, and then as you know, we have limited jobs, we have limited job opportunities, so that's putting a lot of pressure on the youth. And also just the struggle I think from what I've seen, the youth are now demotivated to study even, especially in fields such as education. So that is also bringing a lot of anxiety, lack of security, and just that thought of future. Back then, we knew, okay, the route is go to school, get a job after. But now, if a school cannot guarantee me a job after, why am I going to school? So there is that struggle.
So, and from the field work, what shifts have you observed among the youth in recent years, especially in our region, Taku?
There are quite a number of shifts. We see more of our youths. I wouldn't want to say losing trust, but they are shifting their focus from more formal sectors to informal sectors because they have to survive. Like she mentioned, after COVID, and COVID disrupted the whole functionality of things. So you see young people are now forced to get to the money now and to try and find a living. Most households, if you check, they are youth-led or child-led families. So people grow up fast. They have to step up and actually take the roles to take care of their families and just see that they themselves are taken care of.
Great. So we are talking about youth unemployment. It has become a constant headline, but what is the reality behind the numbers? Taku, how is this shaping the everyday decision and stresses for young people?
Oh, yes. Like we mentioned, youth are now forced to grow up fast, to take up roles that if it was in a normal, economic situation, they wouldn't have. They would still have to continue with their school, with their education. So the numbers are not really quite reflected as such. As you see in the region, we have a lot of unemployed youth, out of school youth, coming from the economic situation and just the whole system as a whole that also has some shortcomings that do not give the youth a leeway to their dreams. So some of them have to shelve their dreams, and some in this economy have to settle for courses that they do not really want to, but it's what's there in the economic structure, and it's what they can afford,
I think maybe just in addition to what Mr. Chikwereti has said, this is also now why we have a lot of early marriages. Yes, a lot of our youth are getting married faster or earlier because of this economic pressure. And also the job choices that we are choosing as youth is because of this pressure. You don't necessarily want to maybe work in Mr. Price, for example, but then the system or what you're going through then pushes you towards that. But maybe you wanted to work in accounting, and then you just end up accepting and settling for a smaller job or something else than what you wanted initially.
So just a follow-up question on that one.
Yeah.
Do you perhaps think that through this economic landscape that we are in, or how bad the economy is getting, I'm speaking under correction, if it's getting worse or better, do you think maybe someday or somehow we might go back in the times whereby we are having parents giving their children in marriage just for survival?
Well, we can't say that will it ever come to a time, because it's already the time. We are there. As I say, the numbers don't quite reflect it, but on the ground, this is what is happening. Children are getting married off because families cannot afford or cannot actually sustain themselves. So the next thing you look at is your daughter and you say, oh, the lobola might come, we might get something, but these things are vastly underreported.
Yeah.
So you find them in the ground, and quite a lot of times it's happening, but it's unreported, and it's deep in outskirts, like in the villages, where even just knowing about it up here, it's almost impossible. But on the ground, it is happening, and we are there. I think this.
So, Edel, are you seeing a surge or an increase in demand for mental health services or support because of this?
Yes, definitely. Because of this, like I said earlier, it's creating a lot of anxiety, a lot of feelings of hopelessness, isolation, loneliness. I mean, these are the things that we see on social media even. A thing of comparison. Right? There's a lot of comparison happening in the youth, in that a vast majority they are unemployed. But then the smaller number that are employed, we are comparing ourselves to them. Right? So out of 50 people in a class, maybe the 5 that end up getting a job, we are looking at them. This one has a job, just got a car. This one just got a house. This one just got married. So all that pressure, iPhone 16, even the way we see how we dress, the drip, everything from that. So it's creating a lot of pressure, and a lot of people feel stuck. Like, when is it going to be my chance to get a job and also look like that, or also for my life to look in a certain way? So yes, definitely, but also in terms of seeking help or services, most of the youth that we attend to are already in a bad state. They come to us when the situation has gotten to maybe suicidal ideation or suicidal attempts. Or maybe we get them through referrals from family members, friends, other institutions, like Ministry of Education, for example. But we don't really have a lot of preventative strategies, and there's also a lot of stigma still happening among our youth. They don't come forth. When they are struggling, they only come when the situation is already bad. So there is a little bit, it's double-edged sword. There is an increase in need, but there's still a lot of stigma that is not allowing people to come forth with their struggle.
Okay. So how are the economic pressures manifesting inside families? What dynamics are being reshaped?
Inside families, you find that, let's give an example of a family, 3 children, mother, father. But if the economic constraints are so big or vivid in the family, you find that these things lead to abuse, domestic abuse, families break down. But we cannot only just attribute it to the bad side. We also have families that join together in the struggle, for them to do things together to survive. And as I've mentioned a couple of times before, child-led families, this is where it starts, because you are still forced to grow up quick. You are still forced to take care of your siblings. Families break down. Finances are one of the pillars of like proper relationships and whatnot. So without that certainty in terms of your economic situation as a family, it becomes very difficult to even maintain just the human interaction in the family. It's always something up, something going on. So yeah, these are some of the dynamics that happen in such economic situations. Yeah.
So, Edel, education is often seen as a route out, but how has the access changed due to financial strains?
Yeah, because of our current economic status or climate, we have a lot of students that leave universities or schools because of finances. They can't afford or maintain school. We have a lot of students that are forced to maybe have a job, a side job, while attending school, but that doesn't always work out because of the pressure. For example, maybe they are expecting you to be at work from 8 to 5. And then you have classes in between. And then you have to make a choice. Am I going to go to school or go to work? And then you need your job to survive. Which one are you going to choose?
It's a very difficult
Yeah, it's a very difficult situation, but that's what is happening currently. And even school-going kids, learners, we have a lot of them that are getting out of school because, no, I go to boarding school, I go to hostel, but I don't have toiletries. I don't have food, I don't have anything. So I'd rather just stay home and maybe look for something. Yeah.
And when it comes to career aspirations, are young people shifting or sacrificing dreams because of the economy?
Most are sacrificing. Now I sound repetitive, but yes, most youths are shelving their dreams because the access is also a bit limited. If you don't get access to what you call it, NASFAF, then that already sheds off the half of the youth that are trying or that have ambitions. So they are forced to shelve. That's like the worst case scenario. They have to shelve their dreams so as to look for a way to make a living. So they end up in the informal sector, small scale trading, and these odd jobs so that they can get by and find a way to survive. Some youth, if they don't shelve, if they get some sort of chance, they don't shelve, but they would rather settle.
Yeah.
You see, dreams are, it costs nothing to dream. So you find a lot of youth have big dreams. Like, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an astronaut, or whatever the dream is. But with the economic situation that you find yourself in, you end up settling to be something else. I'm not going to mention professions, but yes, you end up settling for something else that you
didn't
you didn't really wish to be, but that's what's there on the ground. So choosing between a hard place and a rock, you choose, I don't know which side you choose, but the settling of it is, but we are seeing also an increase in the efforts that are coming into the region. You see vocational schools, they are also trying their best. So why I'm mentioning this is because also in our practice, we use this something called strength-based approach. So some people have strength in vocational skills.
Yeah.
So we see also the presence of Zambezi Vocational. Yeah, it's doing good for the youth. And
maybe let me add to what I agree with what Mr. Chikwereti was saying. Because you see a lot of youth settle for jobs that they don't really want. And that is also creating another problem in the long run, in that demotivation. When you are exposed to the job in itself and it's not something you wanted, that also creates a lot of a lot of pressure, a lot of problems, and possibly even depression.
I was about to ask about that.
Yeah, possibly even depression. Because you are doing a job that you don't want, that you find no interest in, and you're forced to wake up and go to this job every single day.
You know, like, there was one time I was also thinking about that. Imagine you wanted to become a soldier, and then we get families that are, or maybe let me say we get parents that force their children to choose careers.
Into careers,
because they wanted to do that career and they couldn't, so they are going to force their children to do the same career. So like, for instance, let me say, I wanted to be a soldier, and then my parents want me to be a doctor. You know, the role of a soldier is to kill, and then my parents want me to save people. So just something funny I'd been thinking of, like, would I really be a good doctor with a passion to kill, and then I'm forced to save people?
To save.
Yeah, you see. So, and on the other hand, I would say, anyways.
Yeah, but no, I agree.
But
I agree what you're saying, because also, I think let's just take a chance to talk about it. Parents are somewhat responsible for a good percentage of dreams dying because of what we call projection. They project their own values, they project their own dreams onto the children, not realizing that we are all individuals, we are all people who have our own, dreams, on thought processes, on gifts, on talents, on abilities. So parents maybe should recognize that in the youth and use the strength best, because focus on the strengths of a person, then you are likely to get a good outcome out of it.
And not only that, it's parents also. Going back to the economic climate that we're talking about. And then we are having a thing where we are comparing jobs and the money, the salaries that you get. So going back to your example of a soldier and a doctor, you check the notch. You really want to be a soldier, but a doctor earns more. So where are you going to go? Whether you have interest or not, you're going to end up choosing the one that gives you more money. Because
you're already budgeting on a house.
Yes.
Yes. The dreams.
Okay, let's talk about emotions. Edel, what are the psychological or emotional effects that you are seeing, especially in teens and young adults?
I've been talking about it. Not to sound repetitive like Mr. Chikwereti was saying, a lot of hopelessness and isolation, shame, guilt. They are guilt. They are that sense of my circumstances are not allowing me to be successful, but I also feel guilty to a degree that I'm the one failing myself. That shame goes back to comparison of others. You see how others are being successful, they are winning, and you are comparing yourself to them. And also, it leads to a lot of feelings of demotivation. I don't even want to try because I see that I'm going to fail. And then there's a lot of sadness as well. And just this kind of, I don't want to say it, but like a dark cloud or a dark weather happening. It's always raining because you don't see a way out. Back then, we used to dream of finishing school as a way out of your struggles. But now you see a lot of youth have completed, they have their degrees, but they're sitting at home. So what am I looking up to? What is going to be the solution? What will take me out? And this goes back to what I was saying about early marriages. Let me get married. Maybe this person can save me because I don't see a way that I can save myself from my circumstances.
And from your vintage point of view, how do youth typically cope with these economic pressures, and are there patterns in how they seek or avoid help?
In this economic climate, we find youth that are now using different coping mechanisms. Most of them, they are maladaptive, in which to say they are not good for them. So you find youth going and now using drugs, alcohol, just to pass time, because sometimes the chances are not there, or they feel, like she was saying, helpless to say, so what do I do with life? Yeah. If I think about it as much as I can, probably nothing will change. Mm-hmm. And if you look at my economic situation, I cannot afford to pay myself for tertiary education, or if we are being specific to our region, even just to pay for NAMCO to upgrade. Yeah. So you find a lot of hopelessness, which is leading to things like suicide, ideation. Mm-hmm. What am I living for? I'm so young, I still have the energy, but there is no way for me to operate. There is no way for me to shine. So, yeah, you find it.
So, don't you think the same outcomes are leading to more of peer pressure in terms of drug abuse and...
Yes. Yeah. It's a cycle. It's a cycle. Like I mentioned, the informal sector is also including things like the black market, the illicit dealings. So these are things that, to a young mind, getting a hold of $50 a day, 50 Namibian dollars a day, it's mind blowing. Mm. So you find youth see the other boy, he has a new shoe, and you this, but you are sitting with your degree at home, and you don't have, the door is not open for you to enter and get into something. So you find yourself a victim of peer pressure, because you're seeing your friends who are laughing at you and saying school doesn't pay. So it is, with the economic situation, it has become sort of a reality that it doesn't pay, just because there is limited access, and it's now harder to get there than it was before. Yeah.
So, are there any government or community programs that are actually moving the needle for young people?
Yeah. Yes. As I remember, Ministry of Youth has a youth empowerment scheme that they used to fund projects by young people. I think Ministry of Agriculture has something that is also almost to that tune. When it comes specific to my experience, what we do is, I work in the hospital. We have a lot of awareness campaigns that target the youth, that target the general population. So you would find that most youth are not really up to engaging in most of these activities. You find a bit of older generation coming into this. So we would want to encourage the youth to make use of some of these services as soon as possible, because a problem that is quickly identified is also easily solvable. So you find programs that we do on mental health for the youth. We usually do presentations, UNAM, VTC, and some of the companies that are around, and the line ministries that we work with. So, services are there for the youth. There is another one for male engagement sessions. At the same time, there is Women Unleash. It also caters for the young women up to the elderly women. So again, you still see the number of youth is not so prominent, or it's not so high as compared to the other age groups. Yeah.
And what kind of challenges still exist when trying to roll out effective support?
As Mr. Chikwereti said, the youth don't really show up to these awareness campaigns or programs that we create for them. And then also there's this lack of accountability, or let's say for follow-ups. They are less likely to show up for follow-ups. And then there's also a lack of commitment. They show up once or twice and then that's it. And another struggle is that when it comes to community and they are learned coping mechanisms from the community, it's contradicting the coping mechanisms that we are trying to teach. Like he said, coping mechanisms, there are the healthy ones and the unhealthy ones. You have learned maybe to use substance to sustain yourself. And then we are trying to teach otherwise. So because you don't want to unlearn that behavior, you stop coming for sessions entirely. Yeah. So the community also we have limited support from the community in itself and also families in certain cases. Yeah. As an individual, it's very difficult for you to change if you live in a certain environment that exposes you to certain things. Yeah. So we need families, we need communities to also help us change the climate or the environment where these things are coming from. But then we would find that the community has left it to the Ministry of Health to take care of it, and it has nothing to do with them.
Yeah. Okay, looking ahead, if you both had the power to propose one big change, what investment or policy shift would you push for?
Okay. If I had the power to make some of these changes, I think the first thing that I would start with, let me take it back. I mentioned some of these programs that the youth are being given. Yes, we roll out a program, maybe let's say it's a financial assistance program like Youth Empowerment Scheme, where youth gets some funds. So the problem comes in that the youth are also not trained in managing money, financial literacy. So what I would suggest that, if it was possible, the Ministry of Education or whoever is in charge could add a subject or a class that has to do with financial literacy, because many youth, I'll give an example. It's a sad example that I can give that is also common in the Zambezi region. So you find youths that in unfortunate events, they lose their parents who were working for years and years and years. So they inherit these, for example, let's say a 3 million, a house and so forth. So you'll find that if you put a mark on the day that they receive the money, and we won't go so far, 4 months in, you would find that they would have blown over maybe half of the money or probably all of it, that in a year they are back to square -5. It's no longer square 1 or square 0. They have gone way back beyond, because the excitement of having the money and thinking that it won't run out and mismanaging it at that point, it all runs out. So coming back from there is a problem. That's where we find that even the sponsored youths to some projects, I remember some youths back then, they were given money to start projects, gardens, what do you call it? The ovens that they built, the mud ovens. But most of them just did the groundwork, the paperwork, and showed the area. But when they got the money, you would hear stories. You would hear stories about people going on spending sprees on frivolous things, and it's not something that is good for the youth. So that's one thing that I would change. And if another thing would be, if there are such programs, they should be like dedicated people who follow up on these funds. People who are there to advise the youth to say, this is viable, this is not, this is possible, this is not. Because dreams, yes, as good as they are not always feasible. So you need somebody to give you guidance, to mentor you, and to show the youth the way. I think that's one thing that we are lacking. And maybe if we can change that, we might have a better resolve.
Okay, one thing that I would change is let's have a lot of mental health emphasize, to put it like that. I want as early as possible, the same way we start talking about physical health, let's talk about mental health. As early as primary school, we emphasize on headaches, flus, and cancer and stuff. I want us to talk about mental health as well. People should know what conditions are there. How can you get some of these conditions? How can you avoid them? What are healthy coping mechanisms? What are unhealthy coping mechanisms? Where can you get help? And also for the community entirely to know, okay, what can I do if my brother, my neighbor is going through something like this? If I've noticed this kind of signs, where can I seek help? And also just a lot of expertise and services available. I think we should not only rely on Ministry of Health. Let's have social workers, psychologists everywhere, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Youth, everywhere possible, even in schools, universities, there should be these services available already so that we can provide preventative measures and not only deal with the problems when they are already at their highest peak. Right.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
On your point, I was smiling earlier on when you started with it, like advocating for mental health. I also see it as a need because we have a stigma in our region, mostly cultivated through culture. You might find that some parents, or let me not just pinpoint parents, let me say families, for instance, they tend to be old-fashioned or old-styled, and to the point where they can't recognize traits of mental illnesses. And then you'll find that once a child has the traits of early mental health manifesting, and then they might start saying maybe the child is spiritually attacked, having, all that. So I think the lack of mental health awareness is causing all that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
We have seen a lot of cases like that. That's also one of my biggest worries is that we wait until the situation is so bad before we can come looking for help or services. We don't, we don't refer people when it's early, when it's still in its early stages. We always think it's something else until it's out of our hands.
Yeah.
Like you mentioned now, the cultural stuff, the witchcraft or anything else. It can be anything. Like, honestly, I've had almost all the reasons of what it could be, but it's never meant. Other than what it is.
Yeah.
Even with our substance use cases or substance abuse cases, it's never substance abuse. It's always something else.
Yeah.
Even if you know that this person has been using substances, it's not substance. It has to be witchcraft or maybe some sort of medical condition, but it just cannot be that.
Yeah.
So yes, a lot of awareness. We still need a lot of that.
So last question: what gives each of you hope when working with the young people of Namibia? What gives each of you hope when working with the youth?
What gives me hope when working with the youth is just the conscious knowledge that there is untapped potential. There is a lot of potential. And it gives us hope to see that, we see a lot of struggles down on the ground, but also we have a lot of success stories that you see that people from the region are actually taking up high positions out there and actually representing the region. And I think it's a very quite competitive and talented region. So that gives me hope. And also working with the youth, you can just feel the energy and the dream and the zeal of them to get things done, to get their lives in order, to get things in order, despite the challenges that they all face. They all have that spark that, given the chance to flourish and a drop of water, I'm sure they'll come to fruition. Yeah.
Yes. So what gives me hope when working with the youth is that they are open to learning new behavior. So it means that they have potential to unlearn unhealthy behavioral traits and adopting healthy ones. And they also show a great level of resilience, which is now their ability for them to bounce back. Yes.
Okay. Thank you both. You have brought so much insight, heart, and clarity to this episode. Thank you for your voice. Thank you for your work in our community. And thank you for your passion. To our listeners, if today's conversation resonates with you, share it with a friend, start a conversation, and remember you are never alone. You can find us at Empowering Minds Namibia Podcast on YouTube and at Empowering Minds Namibia Podcast on Instagram. Until next time, take care, stay motivated, stay empowered. One Namibia, one nation.